life has been saved by Farmer Brown. When Farmer Brown freed Dr. Duncan from a hole in which he had been buried alive.
I'll get there in just a moment.
Dr. Duncan,
I'll save you.
upon having been saved by Farmer Brown, decides that there is only one thing now necessary for his survival.
And then, Farmer Brown, you're going to have to give me mouth-to-mouth resuscitation.
However, Farmer Brown is reluctant to give Dr. Duncan mouth-to-mouth resuscitation.
Do that, Dr. Duncan. People will think I'm a homosexual.
And so, Dr. Duncan has a request, then, that he makes of Farmer Brown.
It's all right with you. Let's go up to your farmhouse, and I'll call somebody. Maybe they'll come out, one of my friends, and give me artificial respiration.
And so, Dr. Duncan and Farmer Brown make their way across the field in the dark of night toward Farmer Brown's farmhouse. They arrive at the front door and enter same. Dr. Duncan hastens to the telephone.
It's right over there. Okay, let's see. Who can I call? Oh, I know. I'll call Officer Mulder. He'll come out here and give me mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Of course, he'd know how to do it, being a policeman. All right, it's ringing. Hello? Officer Mulder. Dr. Duncan here. I'm sorry to impose upon you, but would you come out to Farmer Brown's and give me mouth-to-mouth resuscitation? Oh, you're on your way to a bank robbery. No, that's all right. I certainly understand. Well, let's see, now, who else could I call? I'll call Mrs. Hoyser over at the Hoyser House of Antiques. I'm sure she'd be happy to do this for me. We're such good friends. I'm singing in the rain. Hello, Mrs. Hoyser. Dr. Duncan here. I'm at Farmer Brown's, and I wondered if you'd come out and give me mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Oh, I certainly know. It's a bowling night. Yes, well, I understand. No problem. No, I'm not mad. Thank you very much, Mrs. Hoyser. Let's see. I'm getting a little desperate now. Oh, I know who'll do it. Bigfoot the Beast. We've become quite close here in the past few months. Hello, Beast. Dr. Duncan here. I'm out at Farmer Brown's, and I need you over here in a hurry to give me mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Oh, really? All right. Doggone. It's having a party at the Knights of Columbus. I'm afraid, Farmer Brown, I'm a goner.
Well, it certainly appears as if Dr. Duncan's situation is desperate, having been buried alive and now in need of mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, and yet unfortunately unable to find anyone who is free to come and save his life. Be sure to join us next time when we'll hear Dr. Duncan say...
I thought of somebody who would give me mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Nurse Adam. But I'll be darned if I'll let him.
Now, Light of My Life. Light of My Life with special guest star Arthur Godfrey. The true-to-life story of men and women living their span of years in Pine City, a typical small Midwestern community. Well, Dr. Duncan is with Farmer Brown in the latter's home, attempting to locate someone who will give him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation.
I badly need mouth-to-mouth resuscitation if I'm to survive my accident.
You see, Dr. Duncan was buried alive on the Farmer Brown farm.
It's your fault that I was buried alive, Farmer Brown. Why don't you give me mouth-to-mouth resuscitation? I would, Dr. Duncan. But I'm afraid if I do, people will think I'm a homosexual.
And so Dr. Duncan has called many of his fellow Pine Cityans in hopes of finding someone who will come to the Farmer Brown home in order to provide him with the necessary resuscitation.
I only have one person left to call, and that is my new love, Dame Edith Pine's Loudermilk. If she isn't home, I'm a doomed man. Let's see, here's her number. I have it here on this matchbook. All right, it's ringing now. Hello, Dame Edith. This is Dr. Duncan. Oh, fine. How have you been? Dame Edith, I have a favor to ask. Would you come over to Farmer Brown's house and give me mouth-to-mouth resuscitation? Oh, you have a date. Well, you know, Dame Edith, I don't mean to be critical, but it's because of you that I'm in this shape, in this peril. I was trying to do in my shovel so that I would collect all of its money and be wealthy enough to marry you.
You see, the shovel became wealthy when the widow Rachel died, and she, having been very well endowed, left the shovel all her money.
Well, I understand. All right. He's at the door now. All right, Dame Edith. Thank you anyway. Farmer Brown, I don't have anyone left to call. I'm a desperate man. Won't you give me mouth-to-mouth resuscitation and shave my life? Well. If it's come to that, I guess I have no choice. All right, now what do we do? Well, first of all, I lie down flat on the floor here and take off my spectacles. Then you get down next to me here, Farmer Brown, and you put your mouth over mine. All right. Now what do I do? What you do is breathe the good air into me and take the bad air out of me. All right. Yes. In goes the good air, out goes the bad air. In goes the good air, out goes the bad air.
Hello, I came over as fast as I could so that I could help Dr. Duck.
Uh-oh, it's Mrs. Hoiser.
Why, Farmer Brown, why are you kissing Dr. Duncan? Farmer Brown, you must be a homosexual.
Farmer Brown's worst fears come true. He has been discovered in the act of giving Dr. Duncan mouth-to-mouth resuscitation by Mrs. Hoiser, who has drawn the only conclusion that I suppose could be drawn by one walking in upon such a scene. Be sure to join us tomorrow when we'll hear Mrs. Hoiser say...
And I'm not so sure of you either, Dr. Duncan.
We will get to...
One more stop.
All right. The stops, of course, are on the massive KFI in-house organ, which is such an integral part of the presentation each morning of our soap opera.
All right.
Already. It's time for Light of My Life. Light of My Life with special guest star Arthur Godfrey. The true-to-life story of men and women living their span of years in Pine City, a typical small Midwestern community. Well, as you'll recall, Farmer Brown was giving Dr. Duncan mouth-to-mouth resuscitation.
In goes the good air, out goes the bad air.
When suddenly the door burst open and in rushed Mrs. Hoiser.
I just came over to... Why, Farmer Brown, why are you on the floor kissing Dr. Duncan? Farmer Brown, you must be a homosexual. I'm going to run and tell everybody in Pine City.
Doggone it, I knew this would happen, Dr. Duncan. Well, It was necessary you saved my life, Farmer Brown. Now, wait a minute. I have an idea how you can change public opinion. Because as soon as Mrs. Hoyser gets through, everybody will know in their mind that you are a homosexual. But we can reverse that.
What is this? Dr. Duncan has a plan to help salvage the reputation of Farmer Brown?
The annual Pine City Beaux-Arts Ball is coming up. I'm planning on asking Dame Edith
Pine's Loudermilk.
Pine's Loudermilk, thank you for
Yes,
the slip
sorry,
over there.
yeah,
We work from a semi-script here, you see. Not written words, but names, so we can remember all these dumb characters. Now, thank you.
Now, where were we?
I'm planning on taking Dame Edith Pine's Loudermilk to the Beaux-Arts Ball, Farmer Brown. Perhaps she can come up with a girlfriend for you.
Yes.
That's a very good
If
idea.
Farmer Brown could be seen in the company of a female, chances are the townsfolk would then not believe the vicious rumor being spread by Mrs. Hoyser.
I'll call Dame Edith right now. Hello? Why don't you wait till you finish dialing, Dr. Duncan? Certainly. It's ringing now. Hello, Dame Edith. This is Dr. Duncan. I was wondering, how would you like to go to the Beaux-Arts Ball with me? Oh? Oh, I see. All right, well, nice talking to you, Dame Edith. What's the matter, Dr. Duncan? You look pale. Dame Edith has told me she won't go to the Beaux-Arts Ball with me because I've been seen consorting with known homosexuals.
Oh, good heavens, the word has already spread then among the townsfolk of Pine City about the scene upon which Mrs. Hoyser found there.
What happened?
The floor of Farmer Brown.
Put a period at the end.
The end.
Okay. I have an idea, Farmer Brown. Since I owe you a favor, and since I enjoy going to the Beaux-Arts Ball, why don't I dress up in drag as a lady? That way I'll get to see the ball, and you will give the impression of having taken a girl to the Beaux-Arts Ball.
Do we all follow this now?
I don't.
Farmer Brown was giving Dr. Duncan mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Mrs. Hoyser found them in that compromising situation. She has spread the word around Pine City that Farmer Brown is a homosexual. Dr. Duncan can't get a date with his love, Dame Edith Pine's Loudermilk, because she has heard that he was consorting with a known homosexual.
I follow all that. You're not even in this episode.
Well, now, be sure to join us next time when we'll hear Officer Mulder say,
Faith and Begorra, corned beef and cabbage. I sure wouldn't want Farmer Brown in my police force.
24 past 8 at KFI. It's time
Pull it. I forgot one.
All right. For Light of My Life. Light of My Life, with special guest star Arthur Godfrey. The true-to-life story of men and women living their span of years in Pine City. A typical small Midwestern community. Well, Mrs. Hoyser is spreading the ugly rumor that Farmer Brown is a homosexual. It was Mrs. Hoyser who found Farmer Brown giving Dr. Duncan mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. And as she threatened to do, she hastened back to the Hoyser House of Antiques and is now telling everyone in Pine City about Farmer Brown. Today, we find Mrs. Hoyser dialing her telephone, continuing to spread this rumor.
Hello, Gloria Swanson. I want you to be the first to know. Farmer Brown is a homosexual.
The phone rings at Bigfoot the Beast's apartment.
Hello. This is Bigfoot, the Beast. Huh? Oh, Miss Hoyser. for you. What? He is? You're kidding.
Well, the rumor spreads like wildfire. Suddenly, the phone rings at the stranger's house.
Hello? 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 Oh, Mrs. Hoyser. You put me on. Farmer Brown? Well, I'll be dipped.
Meanwhile, at the Farmer Brown farm, Farmer Brown and Dr. Duncan are discussing what it is that's happened to the reputation of Farmer Brown.
I don't know if this is going to work, Dr. Duncan. I don't know if we can pull it off. Well, it's our only hope. You clear your name, Farmer Brown. You need... Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
No, you go ahead.
I'll give you a pause.
No, you go ahead. I have nothing to say, really.
Neither did I.
Does anyone have anything to say?
It's not gonna work.
Farmer Brown
Dr. Duncan
says something.
Well, you see, the way I look at it this way, Farmer Brown, the only way we can clear your name is for you to take a girl to the Beaux-Arts ball. Now, I thought I could get you a double date with Dame Edith Pines Loudermilk, but she won't go out with me because I've been known to consort with known homosexuals. So, here's my plan. The Beaux-Arts ball is a costume affair, and I've ordered 2 costumes. I've ordered for you a Disraeli suit to look like the former Prime Minister of England. And for me, I've ordered a Queen Victoria dress.
Yes, then perhaps, if Farmer Brown is seen in the company of Queen Victoria, the rumor about his homosexuality will come to an end.
Now let's put him on and see how we look.
And so, Dr. Duncan dresses as Queen Victoria, and Farmer Brown dresses as Disraeli.
Well, Dr. Duncan, you look beautiful. Thank you very much, Disraeli. I think it's going to work, Farmer Brown. I think your reputation will be cleared.
And tomorrow is the ball. And we'll know whether or not this ploy on the part of Farmer Brown and Dr. Duncan does indeed clear Farmer Brown's name. Be sure to join us tomorrow when we'll hear Mrs. Hoyser say...
Well. Who is that lovely woman over there with Disraeli?
Okay, Oregonville, it's 25 minutes past 8 at KFI. And now, Light of My Life. Light of My Life. The true-to-life story, men and women living their span of years in Pine City, a typical, small, Midwestern community. Well, it's the night of the Beaux-Arts Ball at the Armory in Pine City. And hopefully an opportunity for Farmer Brown to squelch the vicious rumors being spread about Pine City that he is a homosexual. For you see, Mrs. Hoyser came upon Farmer Brown as he was giving mouth-to-mouth resuscitation to Dr. Duncan. And it was her finding them in that situation that prompted her to start spreading the rumors. And so, using the Beaux-Arts Ball as an opportunity to squelch the rumors, Farmer Brown wants to be seen in the company of a woman. The woman is Queen Victoria, which in reality is Dr. Duncan in drag. And Farmer Brown himself is dressed as Disraeli, one-time Prime Minister of England.
I think we look very nice tonight, Dr. Duncan. I sure hope that we're able to pull this off. Farmer Brown, I'd like to clear your name. I think we will, let me tell you. Quite frankly, in your Queen Victoria costume, Dr. Duncan, you look like a beautiful woman. Well,
they arrive at the door of the Armory.
Here we are at the Armory. Good luck, Farmer Brown. Let's go into the Beaux-Arts Ball. By the way, this is a very important ball, you know. Meyer Lansky and his orchestra are playing for it. Don't you mean Maya Davis? No, it's even more important than that. It's Meyer Lansky. Well, here we are.
And so they enter the armory as it's gaily bedecked and festooned for the Beaux-Arts ball.
Everybody looks like they're having a good time. Why don't we just stroll on over to the punch bowl? It's hard to walk in this Queen Victoria dress. You like some punch, Dr. Duncan? Yeah, I don't mind if I do, just a little bit. I hope it's spiked. Uh-oh, look, over there. It's Mr. and Mrs. Hoyser, and they see us. And they're walking this way. This looks like the acid test. Farmer Brown.
Will Mr. and Mrs. Hoyser think
Barely.
that Farmer Brown is indeed in the company of an honest-to-goodness female?
Well. Farmer Brown, you look very nice in your Disraeli costume. But why is Dr. Duncan in drag? Good grief, Dr. Duncan is a transvestite.
Oh, no, the word that they hoped against hope would not be uttered at the Beaux-Arts ball. Dr. Duncan is a transvestite. Farmer Brown, a homosexual. Can you say those things on the radio?
I don't know. Let's keep doing it until somebody tells us to stop.
Be sure to join us next time when we'll hear Dr. Duncan say...
Well, I just as well face reality. I'm afraid my career as a physician has been ruined.
Organ Phil, busily adjusting the stops on the massive KFI in-house organ.
I'm all set, fellas.
Okay. And now, Light of My Life. Light of My Life. The true-to-life story of men and women living their span of years in Pine City, a typical small Midwestern community, where the Armory is the site of the annual Pine City Beaux-Arts Ball. Farmer Brown has come dressed as Disraeli and is in the company of Dr. Duncan, who is dressed as Queen Victoria. Vicious rumors throughout the ball talking about Farmer Brown's homosexuality.
Farmer Brown is a homosexual.
And
Dr. Duncan is a transvestite.
so in the Armory, we hear the fun of the ball as all the Pine City townsfolk enjoy an evening of dining and dancing.
Doggone it.
Except for Dr. Duncan.
I wonder how Mrs. Hoyser saw through my disguise. I think it was your mustache that gave you away, Dr. Duncan.
Well, something obviously must be done if these vicious rumors are to be squelched.
That's right, Farmer Brown. Our reputations here in Pines City are at stake. Do you have any suggestions as to what we can do?
Asks Dr. Duncan.
Why don't we just move to another city?
Responds Farmer Brown.
Hold on. I've got an idea. Perhaps if I could get everybody's attention, I could explain to them once and for all precisely what happened. Here, give me your punch glass, Farmer Brown. Could I have your attention, everyone? Meyer Lansky, would you stop the music, please? Thank you.
What is it, Dr. Duncan? What is it, Dr. Duncan?
I've got some good news. I think I can explain the weird happening surrounding Farmer Brown and myself. You see, what Mrs. Hoyser perceived was erroneous.
What Mrs. Hoyser perceived was something she discovered upon entering Farmer Brown's home some time ago when she saw Farmer Brown giving Dr. Duncan mouth-to-mouth resuscitation.
You see, Farmer Brown wasn't kissing me. Indeed, he saved my life through mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. And now that you know the truth, I have a dramatic announcement to make. I noticed that Dame Edith Pines Laudermilk,
Who is
Pines,
T. Howard Pines Jr.'s sister from England.
I notice that she's at the dance in the presence of Bigfoot. Dame Edith, would you step forward, please?
And so at the request of Dr. Duncan, Dame Edith Pines Loudermilk steps forward toward Dr. Duncan.
Yes, Dr. Duncan, what is it?
I would like to ask for your hand in marriage.
Ah, you see, proposing marriage should dispel the rumors that Dr. Duncan is a transvestite.
Well,
I'm thinking it over.
Will this work? Have the townsfolk accepted Dr. Duncan's explanation of Farmer Brown's behavior? Will Dame Edith Pines Loudermilk accept Dr. Duncan's proposal for marriage? Is there any way out of this dilemma? I'm beginning to think not. Be sure to join us next time when we'll hear Dame Edith Pines Loudermilk say,
I'll marry you on one condition. And that is that you stop kissing Farmer Brown.
You ready there, Organ Phil?
Yes, I am.
All right, it's 24 minutes past 8 o'clock at KFI. It's time for Light of My Life. Light of My Life. The true-to-life story of men and women living their span of years in Pine City, a typical small Midwestern community. Light of My Life stars Roy Bean as
T. Howard Pines, Jr.
Pastor Starmer as
Mr. Heuser.
W. Eva Schneider Baloney as
Mrs. Heuser.
Officer Mulder as myself, Faith and Bigora, Officer Mulder. There is Great and Broadback. Mary Beth Payton is heard as
The late Becky, the late widow Rachel, and now Dame Edith Pines Loudermilk.
Maynard Farmer is heard as
I'm Nurse Adam O'Rear.
Roscoe Bosco is
I'm Mr. Lyle.
Corwinchester Sternhill plays
I played part of Bigfoot the Beast.
and Superman is I'm handsome Dr. Studd. Cecil Hoodspith is
I play the stranger.
Arthur Godfrey is heard.
I'm heard as Farmer Brown.
Gloria Swanson is herself, and Ted J. Baloney stars as
Dr. Duncan.
Today, Dr. Duncan is in his office in the Pine City Hospital
Oh, I wish you'd call.
in the company of T. Howard Pines Jr., hospital administrator, who has to breathe through his mouth because Dr. Duncan severed his nose nerve during an operation.
How are you recovering from your fall down the elevator shaft, Howard? Just fine. Dr. Duncan.
Doc Duncan
No, it's your own fault, Dr. Duncan.
awaits a phone.
You're the one that screwed up and cut the nerves to my nose.
I say Dr. Duncan is awaiting a phone call from Dame Edith Pines
You
Loudermilk.
see, I have asked Dame Edith to marry me. I know, of course, full well that she's already married to handsome Lord Elton Loudermilk. As I recall, Dr. Duncan, Lord Elton is a third-generation magnate and heir to the Loudermilk Whale Oil Fortune Limited in England. True, good point. However, things are not good in the whale oil business. For some reason, whales aren't as oily as they used to be. Plus, hardly anyone uses a whale oil lamp anymore.
And so, time passes as Dr. Duncan awaits a call from Dame Edith Pines Loudermilk, who is, by the way, T. Howard Pines Jr.'s sister. It's awfully annoying.
That is annoying, Howard.
Dr. Duncan awaits the call with her decision. Will she marry him or not? Suddenly, the silence of the office, near silence of the office, is broken by the ringing of the phone. Dr. Duncan the phone up from the cradle.
I'm afraid I'm too nervous to ask, Howard.
Will Dr. Duncan be able to screw up the courage to ask Dame Edith Pines Loudermilk if she accepts his proposal? Will T. Howard Pines, Jr. continue to annoy us all by his breathing through his mouth? Be sure to join us next time when we'll hear Dr. Duncan say...
It was a wrong number.
3 minutes after 8 at KFI. You ready, Organ Phil?
One more.
I beg your pardon?
One more stop.
One more stop.
They're all set to go.
And now, Light of My Life. Light of my life, the true-to-life men and women living their span of years in Pine City, a typical small Midwestern community. Well, today we find Dr. Duncan with hospital administrator T. Howard Pines, Jr. in the former's office. T. Howard Pines, Jr.
Howard. That breathing through the mouth is going to drive me crackers.
breathes through the mouth because of an error that Dr. Duncan made when operating on Howard.
It's not my fault. No, wrong voice.
It's not my fault. Dr. Duncan, you're the one that screwed up in the operation and cut my nose nerves.
However, it was as a result of that operation that T. Howard Pines Jr.'s sister, Dame Edith Pines Loudermilk, came to Pine City.
I'm desperately in love with Dame Edith.
Dr. Duncan has lost his heart to Dame Edith and has proposed marriage to her.
I'm anticipating a call from her now. She should give me her decision forthwith.
However, Dame Edith is already married, and so we all await that phone call. When suddenly,
Oh, Howard.
the phone rings.
What are you, Dr. Duncan?
I'm so nervous. You answer the phone for me, will you?
All right, I will. Hello? I'm sorry that breathing through my mouth drives you bananas, but it's because Dr. Duncan screwed up and cut my nose nerves. Huh? Oh, yes, he's here. It's for you, Dr. Duncan.
Could it be, is this the call the doctor has been awaiting?
Hello?
The call from Dame Edith Pines Loudermilk?
Hello, Dr. Duncan. This is Dame Edith. Dr. Duncan, I've come to a conclusion. I do love you very, very much.
You hear that, Howard? She loves me.
Good news for Dr. Duncan.
But I've decided that I can't leave Lord Elton Loudermilk. You see, Lord Elton is a third-generation magnate and heir to the Loudermilk Whale Oil Fortune Limited of England. And unfortunately, things have gone badly for him. Whales just aren't as oily as they used to be, and hardly anyone uses an oil lamp anymore. So I don't feel that at this time I can bring more trouble into his life and leave him. I will be married to Lord Elton Loudermilk. I will be faithful until the day he dies. Bye.
Doggone it.
Well,
What happened,
it's a
Dr. Duncan?
distraught Dr. Duncan now that must tell T. Howard Pines Jr. of the news he has received.
She's decided to stay with Lord Loudermilk until the day he dies.
Wait a minute.
Dr. Duncan thinks to himself.
Until the day he dies. Until the day he dies.
Dame Edith Loudermilk. She, too, loves Dr. Duncan, but has decided to remain ever faithful to her present husband in England until the day he dies. Be sure to join us next time when we'll hear T. Howard Pines, Jr. say,
Where are you going with that high-powered rifle, Dr. Duncan? Oh, I'm going to England for some hunting.
23 minutes past 8 o'clock. You ready, Organ Phil?
I certainly am.
And now, Light of My Life. Light of My Life with special guest star Dr. Henry Kissinger. The true-to-life story of men and women living their span of years in Pine City, a typical small Midwestern community. Dr. Duncan is in love with Dame Edith Pines Loudermilk, sister of T. Howard Pines, Jr., Dr. Duncan's best friend. And Dame Edith is the wife of Lord Elton Loudermilk, third-generation magnate and heir to the Loudermilk whale oil fortune in England. Dame Edith has told Dr. Duncan that she cannot marry him, for she is committed to remain married till death do they part to Lord Elton Loudermilk.
Till death do we part, she said.
And so Dr. Duncan, being an influential doctor and a lifelong Republican, has gone on wonderful K. Pines Radio to editorially propose that the United States go to war with England.
And then I'll write a letter to President Ford and urge him to go to war with England.
All this in hopes that perhaps in the bombing, Lord Elton Loudermilk might be killed.
How are things going, Dr. Duncan?
Today we find Dr. Duncan with T. Howard Pines, Jr. in Dr. Duncan's office.
You heard my editorial, of course, Howard, and I wrote the president yesterday. Why don't we turn on the radio to wonderful K. Pines and see what's happening?
Beaverville Building on wonderful K. Pines, we play the hits. That was little Stevie Wonder. And now, bulletin. A K. Pines bulletin. The United States has declared war on England. And now to Washington, where Secretary of State Henry Kissinger is holding a press conference. The United States today has decided to go to war with England. President Ford and I made this decision on the advice of an influential doctor and lifelong Republican, Dr. Lowell Duncan. We will start bombing England in 1 week, and then in about 2 weeks, we will invade them. We are having a good time on wonderful K. Pines Radio, and now Solid Gold with Eric Clapton.
Well, step one of Dr. Duncan's plan apparently is coming true. The United States will go to war with England and will bomb. Now,
Apparently your plan is working.
will that bombing cause the death of Lord Elton Loudermilk, third-generation magnate and heir to the Loudermilk whale oil fortune, so that Dame Edith Pines Loudermilk will be free to marry Dr. Duncan?
Just a moment, Howard. There's a phone call here. Let me answer it. Hello.
Hello, Lowell. This is Dame Edith. Did you hear the news?
I certainly did, Dame Edith. We're going to war with England. We start to bomb them in a week.
It's a terrible day, Lowell. For the country and for me. You see, I just received some terrible news of my own.
What was that, Dame Edith?
Lord Elton Loudermilk, my husband, is dead. He was eaten by a whale. So I'm free to marry you now, Lowell.
What's this? News from Dame Edith Pines Loudermilk of the demise of her husband, Lord Elton Loudermilk? That the latter has been eaten by a whale? While plans continue in Washington as the world girds for war, be sure to join us next time when we'll hear Dr. Duncan say,
Dear President Ford, I was just funning you.
8:24. 24 past 8 at KFI. And now, Light of My Life. Light of My Life. The true-to-life story of men and women living their span of years in Pine City, a typical small Midwestern community. Well, as you'll recall, Dr. Duncan wanted Dame Edith Pine's Loudermilk to be free to marry him. Dame Edith Pine's Loudermilk is married to Lord Elton Loudermilk, third-generation magnate and heir to the Loudermilk Whale Oil Fortune Limited of England.
Dear President, let's declare war on England.
Dr. Duncan, as an influential doctor and lifelong Republican, was able to convince the administration to declare war on England in the hopes that Lord Elton Loudermilk might be exterminated in the bombing of London. Then he received news from Dame Edith Pine's Loudermilk.
Lord Loudermilk is dead, Dr. Duncan. He was eaten by a whale.
Now, what is Dr. Duncan to do?
What are you going to do now, Dr. Duncan?
He has convinced the administration to go to war with England, and now there is no need to do so since Lord Elton Loudermilk was eaten by the whale.
I don't know what to do. Dame Edith has said that she will marry me after an appropriate period of mourning. She'd like to wait a week.
Dr. Duncan today is with T. Howard Pines, Jr., hospital administrator.
Why don't you call England and warn them, Dr. Duncan?
Good idea, Howard. I'll do that.
Be sure to dial 1 before the area code.
Oh, of course, darn. Let's see. 1, then the area code. Then England. It's ringing. I hope I can warn them in time to set up adequate defenses. I don't know how I got in this thing, Howard.
Daddy Lou, always be a fatty out England. Very nice as you called. Maybe the pound is at his lowest ebb. You come on over and have some fun in day. Old jolly old England. Go up to Stafford on Avon. Get around the pub and play some darts.
Hello, England. This is Lowell Duncan calling. Wishing very bad news. You're about to be bombed 1 week from now.
Very nice as you called. Sitting appreciating any time you want to just stay on, brother. These rabbits noodle go up play some pubs in the bars in the deep in the dark. Thank you very much. You look forward to coming over here now. The pound is very low.
What'd he say, Lowell?
I don't know. Perhaps I should call the White House and tell them to call off the bombing.
Good idea. Be sure and dial 1 before the area code. Rats.
Forgot. I'll try again. 1. Let's see there. Good, that's the White House number. Perhaps I can stop it. Perhaps I'm in time. Howard?
I certainly hope so, Dr. Duncan. Don't forget that you'll be recalled to the Marines if we go to war.
I hadn't thought of that.
How do you do? This is the White House.
I'd like to talk to President Ford. It's an emergency.
I'm terribly sorry, but the president is in California campaigning right now. He won't be back for a week, 1 day after we start bombing England.
Well, what is Dr. Duncan to do now? He's called England. He has attempted to reach the White House. All to no avail. Who will win a war between the United States and England? Is 1 week's mourning sufficient for Dame Edith Pine's Loudermilk? How did her husband Elton get eaten by the whale? Be sure to join us next time when we'll hear Dr. Duncan say,
Dame Edith, I have some bad news. I've been recalled by the Marines.
All right, fellas, all set to go.
Okay, it's 22 minutes after 8 at KFI. And now, Light of My Life. Light of My Life with special guest star Rodney Bowersocks. The true-to-life story of men and women living their span of years in Pine City, a typical small Midwestern community. Well, Dr. Duncan, as an influential doctor and lifelong Republican, has convinced the administration in Washington to go to war with England. And now has discovered there is no need for that conflict, since Dame Edith Pines Loudermilk has now been widowed since her husband, Lord Elton Loudermilk, was eaten by whale.
What are you going to do now, Dr. Duncan?
The question posed by T. Howard Pines, Jr., Dr. Duncan's closest friend.
Haven't you been hoisted by your own petard?
Duncan finds himself between a rock and a hard place.
Yes, yeah, I guess so. Now that you mention it,
On the horns of a dilemma.
I don't know what to do. I can't get through to the White House to tell them to call off the war. And I called England to warn them of the bombing, but I couldn't understand what they said. Yeah, the only good thing, I guess, is that so far I haven't been recalled to the Marines for active duty.
Meanwhile, his intended, Dame Edith Pines Loudermilk, has indicated that she wants to mourn for 1 week the loss of her husband before making her hand available to Dr. Duncan.
That seems to me to be an appropriate time of mourning, Dr. Duncan.
Suddenly, the stillness of Dr. Duncan's office is broken by the incessant ringing of the telephone.
Never mind, Howard, I'll get it. Hello?
Lowell, this is Edith.
Yes, Edith. Why should you call at this time of day?
Lowell, I've been thinking. Mourning is such a depressing thing. I'd like to put some fun in my life. Why don't you and me get married, let's say, day after tomorrow?
Why, that is good news.
Good news indeed. The good news came in a phone call from Dame Edith Pines Loudermilk, who has decided to marry Dr. Duncan. The bad news came in a telegram, which told Dr. Duncan he was being reactivated, given back his old commission in the Marine Corps prior to the war which is planned between the United States and England.
What are you going to do now, Dr. Duncan?
Question posed by T. Howard Pines, Jr., hospital administrator.
Well, there's not much I can do. I've got to report to the Marine Corps. They will give me back my old commission. I'll be a second lieutenant. But before I can do that, I have to give myself a physical.
Naturally, a pre-induction physical is called for, and being a doctor, Mr. Duncan is qualified to give himself such a physical.
I'll take off my clothes now. All right, now let me see. First of all, I'd better take my temperature. Take a look at it. A 98.4. Well, I see I'm a little substandard, but that's not too bad. Now I'll check my heart.
So Dr. Duncan puts his stethoscope to his chest and listens to the steady beating of his heart.
That sounds fine.
Did I detect a slight fibrillation there, Dr.
That's within the safety margin. Now, to take my blood pressure. Good, that's 140 over 90. That's excellent, even for a man 10 years younger than myself. Let's see, now what else do I have to do? Oh, yes, of course. Cough.
Turn your head, would you, Dr. Duncan?
That's strange. Huh. That's sort of weird. I'd better cough again. Whoopee, I've got good news. I can't go back into the Marine Corps. I've got a hernia.
Good news indeed, for this now means that Dr. Duncan will be free to marry Dame Edith Pines Loudermilk.
I've got to call her right away and give her the good news. Dame Edith, this is Dr. Lowell Duncan, and I have some good news for you. I will not have to go back into the Marine Corps because I have a hernia. So now, Dame Edith, you and I can get married. Aren't you excited?
Well, knowing that, Lowell, you see, I must be frank with you. I can never marry a man with a hernia.
Well, what appeared to be good news has turned to sad. For Dr. Duncan learns that Dame Edith will not marry a man with a hernia. However, Dr. Duncan, because of his hernia, will not have to go back into the Marine Corps. Be sure to join us tomorrow when we'll hear Dr. Duncan say,
Dame Edith, would you consider changing your mind if I were to buy a trush?
KFI. Dr. Morganfield?
Yeah, all set, guys.
And now, Light of My Life. Light of My Life. The true-to-life story of men and women living their span of years in Pine City, a typical small Midwestern community. The world girds for war. Dr. Duncan has been recalled to the Marine Corps. But in the course of giving himself his pre-induction physical,
That's interesting. I seem to have a hernia.
he discovered that he had a hernia, which would, of course, keep him out of the Marines.
That's good news.
And
Now, Mary,
Dame Edith Pines Loudermilk. However, we discovered, Dame Edith Pines Loudermilk will not marry a man with a hernia.
I don't want to marry you, Dr. Duncan, if you have a hernia.
And so, today, Dr. Duncan faces a classical dilemma.
Dr. Duncan, that dilemma that you're facing is classical. What do you intend to do?
It's a very difficult situation, as you can well imagine, Howard. One, if I have a hernia, which I do, I can avoid being recalled as a second lieutenant in the Marine Corps. But then Dame Edith won't marry me. I can operate myself on myself and cure my hernia. Then Dame Edith will marry me, but I'll be recalled as a second lieutenant in the Marine Corps, which will preclude my marriage.
What is the doctor to do?
I have an idea, Dr. Duncan.
T. Howard Pines, Jr., hospital administrator, with an idea.
Why don't you operate on yourself, cure your hernia, then Dame Edith will marry you. Then shoot yourself in the foot, and you can't go back to the Marine Corps.
That's a great idea, Howard. Thank you very much. I'll do that.
Does that solve Dr. Duncan's dilemma? Apparently so. Now, Dr. Duncan is prepping himself in the operating room of the Pine City Hospital.
As soon as you're through prepping yourself, Dr. Duncan, I'll assist in the operation.
That's Nurse Adam O'Rear.
All right, I'm set to go. Adam, scalpel.
And so Dr. Duncan begins
Scalpel.
performing a hernia operation on himself.
Forceps. Forceps. Sponge. A sponge. Suture. A self. I always like that joke, suit yourself. I don't like that, Adam. That's why I'm operating myself. Sponge. A sponge. Forceps. A forceps. Needle and thread. A needle and thread. There. Adam, the operation is completed. My hernia is corrected, and I'm free to marry Dame Edith.
Dr. Duncan, now in a position to marry the love of his life, Dame Edith Pines Loudermilk. Good news indeed. Be sure to join us tomorrow when we'll hear
The most exciting thing.
past 8 o'clock. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm all set to go, fellas.
And now, Light of My Life. Light of My Life. The true-to-life story of men and women living their span of years in Pine City, a typical small Midwestern community, where Dr. Duncan, while giving himself a pre-induction physical, discovered he had a hernia, which would keep him from being re-inducted by the Marine Corps.
I will never marry a man with a hernia.
However, the widow, Dame Edith Pines Loudermilk, has indicated that she will not marry Dr. Duncan if he suffers from said affliction.
Scalpel.
And so, Dr. Duncan performed an operation on himself, which appears to have been successful.
How did the operation come out, Dr. Duncan?
T. Howard Pines Jr., hospital administrator, queries the doctor.
I don't know. I'll have to check. Just a moment.
And so Dr. Duncan prepares now to check to see if indeed he was successful when he performed the hernia operation on himself.
Yes, it's a success, Howard.
Now, of course, however, having cured the problem,
The Marine Corps will call you back and make you a second lieutenant again,
Dr. Duncan is eligible to be re-inducted into the Corps.
Yes, but I'm going to take your advice on that, Howard. I'm going to shoot myself in the foot, and in so doing, render myself unrecallable. I have my old M1 rifle that I kept from my first tour of duty, and at this time, I'm going to lock and load 1-round ball ammunition. Don't get your thumb caught, Dr. Duncan. Oh, yes, thank you very much. I think I'll shoot myself in the right foot. All right, there we go. Well, I missed. I'll try it again. Hold still, foot. Get a good bead on it. Whoops, I forgot to lock and load 1-round ball ammunition. All right, there we go. Ow. Congratulations, Dr. Duncan. Now you won't have to be recalled by the Marine Corps.
However, because he has fixed his hernia, he will now be able to marry Dame Edith Pines Loudermilk.
I can hardly wait to tell Dame Edith the news. I'll dial her number right now. Hello, Dame Edith. I've got some good news. This is Dr. Lowell Duncan.
What is it, Lowell?
I remedied my hernia. You and I are now free to get married.
Oh, that is good news, Lowell. We can get married at last. I'm so excited. You know what we must do, Lowell? We must go out dancing tonight. I love dancing. Why, I wouldn't marry a man who doesn't dance.
Oh, no. How will Dr. Duncan tell Dame Edith Pines Loudermilk that he shot himself in the foot and obviously now cannot go dancing? Be sure to join us next time when we'll hear T. Howard Pines Jr. say,
Maybe you can dance on one foot, Dr. Duncan. Peg-leg Bates did it.
The most exciting.
stops there on the massive KFI in-house organ.
I'm all set, fellas.
It's 23 minutes past 8 at KFI. It's time for Light of My Life. Light of My Life. The true-to-life story of men and women living their span of years in Pine City, a typical small Midwestern community. As you'll recall, Dr. Duncan has fallen madly in love with Dame Edith Pines Loudermilk, whose husband, Lord Elton Loudermilk, was a third-generation magnate and heir to the Loudermilk whale oil fortune of England.
Lowell, I have some alarming news. Lord Loudermilk was eaten by a whale.
This, after Dr. Duncan had used his influence as a lifelong Republican and influential doctor to get the administration to declare war on England in hopes that during the bombing of London, Lord Elton Loudermilk might be killed.
We will declare war on England, and we will start bombing them within a week.
That, from the administration, was just about a week ago. And so Dr. Duncan now no longer has need for that war against England, since Dame Edith Pines Loudermilk is a widow and now can marry him.
I've been recalled to the Marine Corps.
Yes, because of the impending war with England, Dr. Duncan has been recalled and given his old commission back in the Marine Corps.
Hey, that's good news. I've got a hernia. I can't go to the Marine Corps.
Yes, with a hernia, of course. The Marine Corps won't want Dr. Duncan back. However, Dame Edith Pines Loudermilk doesn't want him either because of his hernia.
Well, I'll have to fix my hernia, and then that way, Dame Edith will take me back. Then I'll shoot myself in the foot. And that way, the Marine Corps won't want me.
Well, all that has now been accomplished. And so, Dr. Duncan has called Dame Edith with the good news that his hernia has been fixed.
Let's go out dancing tonight, Dr. Duncan.
Dame Edith wants to go out dancing, and Dr. of my life, the true-to-life story of men and women living their span of years in Pine City, a typical small Midwestern community. As you'll recall, Dr. Duncan has fallen madly in love with Dame Edith Pines Loudermilk, whose husband, Lord Elton Loudermilk, was a third-generation magnate and heir to the Loudermilk whale oil fortune of England.
Lowell, I have some alarming news. Lord Loudermilk was eaten by a whale.
This, after Dr. Duncan had used his influence as a lifelong Republican and influential doctor to get the administration to declare war on England in hopes that during the bombing of London, Lord Elton Loudermilk might be killed.
We will declare war on England, and we will start bombing them within a week.
That, from the administration, was just about a week ago. And so Dr. Duncan now no longer has need for that war against England, since Dame Edith Pines Loudermilk is a widow and now can marry him.
I've been recalled to the Marine Corps.
Yes, because of the impending war with England, Dr. Duncan has been recalled and given his old commission back